Last minute crisis? We've got you covered. When your moving staff is short, Moving Force steps in. Instantly connect with a network of trusted movers ready to handle the job. Fast sign-ups, trusted network, reliable solutions. Don't let last-minute issues slow you down. Help is just a tap away. Download the app and sign up for free today.
Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. I'm Dwyght Mack with Moving Force. We got Ryan Marsh with Supermove in the building. And we got a special guest, Craig Savoski, in the building today. And, give me 1 second. Things never work the way it's supposed to work. So just a little bit highlights before we let Craig, tell his story. Basically, he's a human behaviorist plus international speaker, 9/11 first responder, cancer survivor, and 30 years mentoring entrepreneurs. So he got a lot to say. So, Craig, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, my name is Craig Savoski. I grew up in New Jersey. I always thought egotistically, I always thought I'd be famous for something I've done in business. And I became infamous for a 9/11 cancer guy. And I had to sit a long time with that, it humbled me pretty much. And now I go around and I tell people about my life and how we don't have time and how we have to execute on our ideas. And we just need to think different. And I help people tap into the quantum field. I've been studying for years, heart and brain coherence through epigenetics. And I tell my story in the hopes that people understand that, you can execute on anything as long as you have the right mindset. And while I was battling lung cancer, still tracking shadows and stuff like that. I have a bunch of illnesses. I came down to Mexico, straighten my life out so I can go back to the States eventually. And, just get back on stage. I used to speak at convention centers and hotels back in the day. And I've been battling this thing for 13 years, and standing back up again is something that I thoroughly enjoy. So I'm here to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed.
I hear that.
You've been battling the lung cancer for, you said, 13 years.
Yeah, it started in 2012. I had a collapsed lobe, and I ended up walking around with that collapsed lobe for 5 years. I was diagnosed with rare carcinoid cancer in my right lobe, my lung. It's directly linked to 9/11 because it's one of the 68 cancers or whatever. It's all exotic stuff. I have GERDs, Barrett's esophagus, where my throat just closes. I had 14 or 15 knee surgeries. I've been stitched together, man.
Wow.
And I understand why now. I help thousands of people around the world. I talk about being molested as a kid, drug addiction, bankruptcies, divorces, losing everything multiple times. Early on, I was my early 30s. I had the opportunity to live in a bush in Jamaica with somebody that was savant. And my buddy Louis showed me how to control my mind, control the emotions. And I think that's such a humbling experience, is to be able to control your emotions. So this way you can advance in life. I think there's a story everybody has, and it's the emotional attachment to the story that's holding everybody back. So what I do is I mentor and coach people into stripping that story down and getting rid of the emotional attachments through heart and brain coherence. And there's something called the quantum field, which I call the human Wi-Fi, that people need to learn to tap into to be able to control their emotions. We have something called the reticular activating system. And all it wants to do is please us. So whether we think we can or can't, it's going to give those scenarios to us externally. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. So I got a couple of questions for you to pick your brain. So how do you know when you're living in your true purpose versus chasing money and survival?
When you're living in your true purpose, you're free flowing. You're not. So the whole thing about the quantum field is everything is external, right? We're living in our heads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And when you're faking it, like faking it until you make it, it's like, no, you're actually walking a parallel life. And once you dial in your frequency, you change your vibration and your energy. You just walk into that life. It's not really about manifesting. It's what you're seeking is seeking you. So you have to be in tune with who you are and not the impersonator. It's usually whenever we meet somebody, we're meeting their representative, right? Because as time goes, time reveals everything, right? In relationships. Well, time also reveals everything in our relationships. The Jesuits talk about from 0 to 8 years old. If you show me the kid, I'll show you the adult at 35 and 40. Because all we are is we absorb everything. We absorb the energies and stories from our families and all the people that are important in our life. However, the problem or the obstacle is that most people programming us, right, haven't been programmed themselves properly. And I'm not being like disrespectful of people. It's just people are raised by their families, right, or whoever raises them. And some of us have raised ourselves. So there's a continuing story of how we get into self-sabotaging modes, why we don't believe we're worthy, because a lot of us feel less than. Depends on the emotional attachment to the stories, because the stories are irrelevant. Everybody's got a sad story. It's the emotional attachment to that story that's going to hold us back.
As a moving business owner, your day starts with a plan. But what happens when your movers don't show and that plan falls apart? Last minute no-shows. You're left to bootstrap, jumping in as an extra body. Yet sometimes, even that's not enough. This isn't just a disruption, it's a barrier to your business growth. Introducing Moving Force, your on-demand moving team. With Moving Force, say goodbye to no-shows and hello to peace of mind. With reliable, on-demand staff ensures you're never undermanned, turning your operational nightmares into a thing of the past. Moving Force, where every day is moving day and every move is smooth. Empower your business and keep growing without missing a beat. Join Moving Force today and move forward with confidence.
Yeah, and I always feel like it's your why, and we always circle back to that, because it's like, if you don't know what your true purpose is for whatever you're doing, it's anytime you face adversity, you're going to feel like quitting.
Exactly, because you haven't been programmed. It's like, so when we're born, right? We're what's the first thing that happens? You get a smack on the ass, and then you start crying, right? Why does everybody think that life is not going to be like that? Why, you know what I mean? And especially with men, a lot of us, like, we hold everything in, and that's a detriment to our mental health. And I believe and I feel that once we start talking about, especially men, once we start talking about vulnerabilities, and people are like, oh, no, I can't talk about my emotions. I'm like, we're emotional creatures. If you're not tapping into your emotions are controlling you. You're not controlling your emotions. So what I do is I show people how to regulate the internal system, because we have the greatest pharmaceutical set other than external pharmacies. And people really don't understand that. And once you're able to regulate that chemistry set, man, life changes. No longer addicted to adrenaline and cortisol. Then you start getting the oxytocins and serotonins bubbling in. Those are the feel-good chemicals. So if you have the feel-good chemicals, why would you ever want to go back to adrenaline and cortisol?
Yeah. So a lot of, I guess this leads me to this. A lot of moving business owners feel stuck doing everything themselves. What mindset shift needs to happen first?
Well, okay, so you have to define what is everything in your business. Are you running your business? And believe me, I work on this all the time, right? Because it's like, I get to a point sometimes where not burnout, overwhelm. It's overwhelm. It's the emotional attachment to, I need to do everything myself. I have to do all the bookkeeping, right? I have to do the insurance stuff. I have to do setting up appointments, right? You can get burnt out from that instead of hiring that out to somebody. No, we have to control it. It's like, no, when you're showing that, you don't have control of your emotions. And that's going to give you the self-doubt. That's going to put the fear into your life. Because we base things off of fear and love. Doesn't matter what it is. It's two emotions, fear and love. And a lot of us, we do things out of fear instead of love. You can throw love at everything, though. Once you throw love at everything, everything becomes free-flowing. It's a different change of energy.
Yeah, I always felt like and I feel like this kind of question leads to delegation, which it is. But it's one of those things where I feel like whenever you delegate from an owner standpoint, because you know you're already wearing like 8,000 hats already. So when you delegate, like it's the control not to put more things in that spot that you just got off your plate.
So I go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, there's a little delay.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, no, it's just like I said, it's just that whole fact that, hey, I got 5 things off my plate, but what did I fill those 5 things with?
10 other things, possibly.
So I don't know if it's one of those things where you need to have control, where it's like, hey, just because I delegated this stuff doesn't mean I take on more stuff, but maybe perfect what I already have left.
What if, right? You can't control the external events. That's one of the things that I've learned at 60 years old. I can't control all of this. All of this outside noise, I can't control it. The only thing that I can control is this. This is the only real estate we can own. So when you control your emotions, right? A lot of us, we're emotional creatures based off, like, especially entrepreneurs, right? Because we have to know everything. We have to know all the moving parts. What if, right? You don't know everything and you leave it to the people that have control of those certain little points in our entrepreneurship. So we don't have to do everything. We could be nothing, okay? And people are like, what do you mean be nothing? Well, if I label myself, right, I need external validation. What if you didn't have to label yourself? What if you just sat down, right, with a piece of paper, wrote the pros and cons of your life, put a line down the middle, pros, cons, and then once you have all the cons written out, because a lot of us don't want to put all the pros, cut the paper and burn the cons and concentrate on the pros. So you can, in the moving industry, you can get VAs, right or wrong,
right?
To set things up. But you have to program how to set things up.
Yeah.
All our businesses are the same. It's just the widget is different.
Are you in search of a side gig? Get ready to land the ultimate side hustle. Don't let this opportunity slip away. Join Moving Force as a mobile mover. Enjoy the freedom to set your own hours, earn excellent income, and be your own boss. Apply now. Download the app for free, available on the App Store. It's time to make a move, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah. And the thing for me is, and for those that are needing any virtual assistants, ReadyRoll is a great company out there to lean on if you're looking to have some virtual assistants that can help grow your business. But my whole thing is, I guess, and I have to mentally get over that block, is working with the VAs is feeling like more work, because I'm like, oh, hey, I'm trying to delegate and have you do stuff, but I feel like I'm teaching you how to do what I could just be doing right now.
You can, and it takes a while to create a foundation. A lot of us are walking around on houses that are built on sand and not on stone. So it's like we all have this capability of doing amazing things, and all of us have done great things. It's celebrating those small incremental wins to build ourselves up to the larger picture. See, because if you go from point A to point B, right, it's the process of who you become. So you have to become that dynamic business person now, ahead of the event. So literally, you have to work on your mindset in order to achieve greater things for yourself, your family, your peers. Most of us just want to, and I raised my hand because I was guilty of it for decades. We're all looking for an external event, right, where something's going to help us, something's going to save us. And it's like, no, you have to sit here and save yourself. You have to, it's you versus you, and one of you needs to die. And that's so important in entrepreneurship, because we can pump our chest for something that we've done that's great, right? And then sit in our laurels. And then what happens? We end up crashing and burning because we think we're bigger than what we are. I'm not saying have self-doubt. I'm saying be realistic in your own head. Know what you're capable of. And you can always tell somebody's external world how they feel inside. If there's pure chaos in your life, you're attracting that. You have to change your frequency and dial something better for yourself.
Yeah.
And that'll change your vibration and energy. And it's going to give you the opportunity.
That remind me of when people are like, you may know friends or whatever the case is that end up getting in horrible relationships. And they're just like, why am I always attracting the wrong ones? Like, why
You
can't
do
I
it to yourself. They do it to themselves. I get buddies that, friends that get into financial strain and issues over and over and over again. It's like, change your habits. You're doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. We all know what the definition of that is, right? And unfortunately, I see that in every walk of life. But I do have a question for you, Craig. You brought something up that struck a chord with me about, particularly men holding things in, right? Going through a traumatic experience, holding it in. So I'd love to hear your input. I'll give you a little bit of background because your cancer story obviously resonates with me on a personal level like you'll never believe, right? A couple of years ago, our son was diagnosed. And again, I'm going to make myself a little vulnerable here. I don't think I've ever talked about this online, we'll say. So I'd love to kind of give you a real world situation and love to hear how you tackle that, if that's good. This might be a little off script, but I think this is what you do and do well. So, my son a few years ago was diagnosed with cancer, right? He beat it. Well, fast forward. He beat it. He's good. He's great. It's been 2 years now, right? So during that time, I was the guy that had to be the emotionally strong guy. I was kind of the PR guy for the family, right? Like giving everybody updates, working with doctors, consoling with my wife, my son, my family, my parents. The journey ends, right? You're on cloud nine, you're excited, what have you. And now here we are, right? Kind of sitting back. During that time, I felt like I didn't have a place to vent, or if I wanted to, I just wasn't comfortable enough to do so. And some of the things and decisions I've made since then, I don't think are probably the best decisions, but there's a reason why I recently moved, right? Because every corner in our old home was a reminder of pieces of that journey, whether it was the couch where home health care would come in and poke and prod and draw blood, or whether it was the corner around the living room where I would go and hide and shed tears while this shit was going on. So even though very, very happy ending and a lot of great memories, I will say, and a lot of great things happened during that time. Like, it wasn't all bad. I mean, I think a lot of amazing things came out of that journey. And when I say this to people, like, I don't understand how you can go through such a, terrible, nasty thing and you found the beautiful nuggets and kind of found a new purpose in life. But I guess the question is, held it in for so long. There's not many groups. Since then, we've kind of created a kind of a guys group of, we're men that are in this situation with kids, and this can go and vent and have that conversation. But that wasn't necessarily there when I was there. So I've made all these changes, did a whole bunch of weird stuff. But I still struggle with, I don't want to say the emotional attachment, but I still have not been able to let it go. I think about it every day.
It's the emotional attachment to the story. Because here's the thing, right? When you're the provider, okay, there is no outlet. You have to internally hold it, right? And I'm going to give you the perspective. I was diagnosed. Well, they said I was going to be treated 4 different times for 4 different cancers, and Jesus. When it comes to your kid, right? And I saw this with my dad because he took care of my mom for like 16 years. And my dad was a flamethrower in the Marines. I mean, he was burning down villages when he was 17 in Korea. And he, you know, and he was a tough dude, big guy and all of that. And the thing, and this is going to sound callous, and I'm getting goosebumps, and don't take it this way, okay? It's our ego and pride, okay? Because you're the provider, because you're the dad, right? And you're looking at your little boy and you can't do a fucking thing about it, okay? That is trying to control the external. It's whatever comes at you. And I'll give you an example. So I was studying epigenetics after I had a 9-hour surgery where they took my mid and lower lobe of my right lung out. And I was that guy that blood pressure bottomed out, and I woke up screaming going into the recovery room. Now, what I learned from that was life's going to life. Whether you want to participate or not, life is going to throw shit at you that you're never prepared for. So again, it's all the external forces. This is the only thing that you can capture and control. Your mindset is the only thing that you can control. That being said, how do you control it? It's like regulating temperature, right? I've gotten to a point, I've lost everything in my life multiple times during this battle. I lost things before, but now more than anything, I'm 60 years old. I'm living in Merida, Mexico, right? I'm finding my way back again. My voice is getting louder and louder around the world. And my message to humanity is simple in its complexity. Mind your own fucking business. If not, somebody else will. So by minding your own business, right, you're controlling everything that's coming at you without ego and pride. Because it's one of the biggest things. Like, I talk about psychedelics all the time, and they're showing research on how people get over their emotions and reconnect to themselves with psychedelics. And they're doing so much research now where it's starting to be like, oh, okay, so I don't have to take Zoloft and Xanax and all the chemical crap, right? I can get into something like, and I don't know if it's great on your podcast or whatever, but
ayahuasca.
Well, I've done 300 plus rounds of dimethyltryptamine to help me regulate my mindset. My next book coming out next year is called The Shaman from Jersey, where I've been able to alchemize everything in my life. And you could do it with frequencies. People don't understand, right? Because, if you're in a bad mood, you listen to some music, right? Makes you feel better, or it can make you cry, it can make you happy. Those are frequencies. Well, there's other frequencies that you can tap into where it goes past your conscious thought. Because whatever we're thinking about, that's 5% of your day. 95% of your day is driven off your habits. And behavior is created from your habits. So it develops your character. What happens with us, and I used to have this great coach, Danny. She say every problem that we had, it's like putting on another coat. Pretty soon you're walking around with 50 coats on, man. That's heavy. And you're walking through your life and it's heavy. Now we have to learn how to shed those coats. It's like peeling an onion. What happens? You got to tap into that deep, dark work, man. Because only you know, Ryan, who Ryan is. Your wife doesn't. Your kids don't. I'm talking Ryan. And a lot of people don't want to, Ryan may not want to face Ryan. Ryan may have all the, I'm not picking on you. I'm just giving you an example. Ryan might just be like, man, fuck. There's something called false positivity. It's like, I'm going to think positive, right? That means shit. Like I said, it's a conscious thought. It's 5% of your day. 95% is, oh, man, I'm going to think unicorns and rainbows. But internally, fuck, I can't pay my bills. I feel like a shitty dad. Look at what happened to my son. There's nothing I could do. Those are recalls, right? And when people recall certain things, their biochemistry shit changes. Now, our reticular activating system does not know the difference between fantasy or reality. Doesn't know the difference of time. So I could recall, if I know you, I'm coaching you, I'm mentoring you, I know certain things about you, right? And I do this intentionally to show people how it works. I can recall something in your life and bring it into your conscious thought, and then your biochemistry changes. Like you feel that, oh, fuck, because you haven't regulated your emotions. We can regulate our emotions. It's simple. It's not easy. It requires that work. It requires that shit, man. What does Ryan want to know about Ryan? You want to know your superpower? The God within, light seeking the human experience? Because it's all we're doing is seeking the human experience. I don't believe that we're enlightened. I know we're enlightened, light seeking the human experience. So we're not looking for enlightenment. We're looking for us. And once you find out who Ryan is, all the rest of the shit, it doesn't go away. You'll recall it, but with different emotions. I know, brother, exactly what you're going through. I saw it in my dad. I saw it in my ex-wife. I first diagnosed in an emergency room, and the doctor told me I had a malignant tumor in my chest. In front of my 11-year-old, my first instinct was to throat punch the doctor.
Yeah.
You know, first instinct, like, how dare you say this shit in front of my daughter? I'm glad my daughter was smart enough to understand, because we raised her a different way. I never lied to my kid ever since she was a little kid. I used to tell her all the time, Daddy and you are going to have conversations girls and dads should never have. I grew up in the streets, man. I grew up in the streets. I don't want my daughter going to the streets for anything.
Yep.
My daughter calls me up and is like, instead of, oh, Dad's going to get pissed, well, Dad'll help. Dad'll help me figure this out. I might be aggravated later, but she's also 20 and she's a kid. I mean, shit, I used to do stupid things all the time. You know, and I created those habits, and that became my character.
Yep.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwyght Mack with Mack's Moving Training. So we're going to be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. You know, come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stressed during that move process. Number two, be on time. You know, first impression is everything. You know, you guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, you know, be there before the time, you know, as long as they're okay with it. Let's get started with this move and pack.
When the day starts, before everyone gets on the road, a debriefing of the day ahead needs to take place, going over all the expectations, firing up the squad, and just setting the tone for the move day. The truck inspection is something that should be done every single day prior to going out. With the truck equipment check, this is a task that can be done while the truck inspection is taking place. You want to make sure that each crew has their respective list of things to check. This is also the perfect time to tidy up and count all of the odd pieces of equipment. There's just one last step. The foreman or the lead should contact the customer to make sure everything is still on schedule and to let them know when they'll be arriving. Now, all the dots are checked and it's time to get this crew out the yard. Moving equipment. This will be your standard equipment for your move. We will go in depth on how all of these can play a major role in performing a safe and efficient move. The two-wheel dolly. This is a simple one-man piece of equipment that can be used for your boxes, or even better yet, your big and larger items that you will likely encounter. Residence protection. The front entryway is where a lot of damage can happen on the move. So to limit this, we're going to use three very important things. First, we're going to use a floor runner with a blanket, and this is going to protect the home from any pebbles and shoes or mud that's going to harm the immediate floor. Once the sides are wrapped, you can now stand it up and wrap from bottom all the way to the top. This method would be the preferred way, as this now puts the movers in the prime carrying position to get the sofa out of the residence. When lifting something big and heavy like this dresser, it's very helpful to use a two-wheel dolly. In addition to using the dolly, using a spotter can really help you get it through the door and down and up the stairs.
So now it's all about loading up the truck. And there's just some basic rules that we got to follow with loading the truck. Number one, make sure that you did a thorough walkthrough of the home, seen everything that you need to move, and now you can start painting that picture in your head of how you want that truck loaded. Number two, start with the basics, start with the miscellaneous stuff, because ultimately you don't want to find yourself stacking on miscellaneous items like hampers and bags and stuff like that. So, let's start with the simple stuff in your load.
Storage vault loading. So the customer shipment has arrived at your warehouse. It's time to assess that everything is accounted for and determine if everything will fit into the storage vault as quoted for. So similar to packing a truck, we're going to start with a solid base, which will be the foundation to bring this whole load together.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Max Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. Number 7, after load up, make sure to do a walk around with the customer to ensure everything is done. That means you grab the customer, your guys are outside, maybe putting away all the equipment. You grab the customer, do a walk around, you open up every closet. If you were doing a pack job, make sure that you know that everything is gone. Make sure you go through the kitchen, open up every cupboard, leave the cupboards open so at quick glance, everybody sees that the kitchen has been fully packed. And anything of that nature, even the wardrobe boxes, just double check and make sure you do a complete walk around. And if the customer had a garage or anything outside of the home that was mentioned to move, patio table, patio furniture, maybe some items out of the garage or shed, make sure you don't forget to do that walk around as well. Do a complete walk around.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking what you were saying, and it kind of had me thinking as well, where how we wear so many coats and it's layers, and essentially, and for me, I've been trying to regulate my emotions from crashing out and letting the anger get to me or whatever the case is, and I feel like at times I've been doing really good, but then it's like out of nowhere something just sparks and I just bug out, and I'm just like, damn it, you gotta restart this again. You gotta start your trial again. You was up to like 60 days, you were good, and now somebody had you come out of your emotions, and you're like, where did it come from? Like, I feel like they know what button to push, and it's always a different button every time. And it's just kind of like,
how do you suppress the triggers?
You have
I
to
don't even
work
know
on
if that's the right
no, it is.
right term. Is that the...
Yeah. So here's the thing. You ever see, like, now it's online. Everything's like, oh, trigger warning. There's certain things you can't say and all. Well, what the fuck do I need a trigger warning for? No, seriously. Like, why do we need trigger warnings? Because we didn't work on our triggers. And Dwyght, the whole thing. So everything is about neurological linguistic programming. NLP is everything in everybody's life. You can tell what somebody is thinking just by how they speak. So when you use words like try, or if you say something and then say but, you canceled out what you just said before. So why are we trying? We're being. So your words and phrases are picked up by the reticular activating system. So if you're trying, it just means we're going to give you fucked up situations over and over again, instead of being that guy. But you can regulate your emotions. You're a business guy. You're balls enough to do this. What's the trigger? There's a story that you haven't worked on with the emotional attachment subconsciously. Because remember, everything is 95% is behaviors and responses and triggers. And because our body knows how to do things. I'll give you an example. When a phone rings, you pick it up with which hand? You don't even think about it, right?
Dude, depends on what I'm doing.
Well, okay. I mean, you're designed a little bit different, right? But I mean, it's an automated system that we have. So we have to get radically uncomfortable being uncomfortable. Because what happens when you start getting uncomfortable, you don't like it, you'll switch back to your original way of thinking. So you haven't worked on your triggers. I lost everything 3 years ago in a hack, right? I lost my 9/11 book. I lost 25,000 email list. I lost a cartoon, a movie script, 22,000 emails, like everything intellectually. Man, for 3 years, I was beating the shit out of myself. And then finally, lawsuit came, and it was like, no, go fuck yourself. And my first instinct was, and then I was like, number one, I don't have cancer. Number two, this is nothing to a giant. It's a change in perspective. I no longer, and that's when I knew I won for all of the stuff that I've been doing for years. Able to control the emotions. Because if we're still looking for validation, you know, like when you buy something, you feel so good, and then you get buyer's remorse after a while. I got a buddy of mine. He'll go to like Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, right? And he'll buy a whole bunch of shit, or he'll put a whole bunch of stuff in the carriage, right? And then when he's done, he'll just leave the carriage and walk out because he's satisfied. These are things that we can. These are things that we can regulate. These are things that we could actually do. Or like if you're emotionally like distraught, right? You're anxious. You're nervous. Skip. Can't be anxious and nervous when you skip. What we've done is we've lost that kid within ourselves. We have to develop that kid again. It's all memory.
I'm going to Sam's Club tonight. I'm going to try this. I'm going to load the cart with 80 to 110-inch TVs, sound bars. I'm going to load the cart up. And I'm going to pull right up to the register and then be like, see you guys.
Deuces. And walk out with a hot dog.
Yeah, not even. I'll probably get the slice of pizza for $1.85. I think because we get 2 slices for $1.85. With the drink, it's like $2.25. So I think, you know what, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try that. And you want to go, Dwight?
That sounds like a good price for pizza because the pizza now is getting hot. But just we are at the top of the time, everybody. I hope we enjoyed this session. This was really deep. We definitely got to have you back, Craig. Ryan, did you have anything before we take off?
No, I mean, I'm literally like, obviously took a lot of great nuggets here, Craig, and I appreciate you taking the time to kind of dissect my situation here. But also, like I said, I'm gonna go load up the cart, and I mean that kind of metaphorically. Right? I'm gonna load up the cart and then walk away from the cart and kind of see what that looks like and feels like. I don't think I'll actually go to Sam's Club and put a bunch of TVs in there, but
they're just gonna call you an a-hole. They're like, he's an a-hole. Now we got to restock this.
The problem, they know me too well up there, and they're all the time like, "What is this clown doing with a cart full of TVs?" Right? But I'm gonna do it.
Why not?
Craig, did you want to leave your calling card and let people know how they can reach you?
Sure. I got a book out. Everybody Pays a Vig: One Man's Entrepreneurial Journey on Amazon. And you can reach me at my website, craigsavosky.com. And I give everybody 15 minutes. So you can reach out and discuss something, and I'll give you a takeaway on whatever the situation is that you have.
Sounds good. All right, y'all. Y'all keep crushing it out there. Focus on your mentals. Get dialed in. And we'll catch y'all next week. Y'all take care.
Peace.